It all started in 1930. A gentleman named Gaston Rocha started winemaking in Lebanon, coming from a family of bankers who had suffered from the consequences of the First World War and the burst of the Ottoman Empire and the Great Depression of '29. Gaston Rocha decided to start a new business, and he went for wine. But why? He got to discover the world of wine in the late 20s when he lived in Paris for a couple of years. It may have lingered in his mind for a few years, but his family was in the world of finance and would have definitely not accepted such an adventure. But then in 1930, with the effects of the Great Depression, he just went ahead. He wanted to prove that in Lebanon, you could not only produce wine, but good wine, even by international standards. And time confirmed that he was right. For the first 15 years, his main customers were the French officers based in the Middle East. Then he was chosen as the main supplier for the French army, selling them his entire production at one point, and business was extremely good.
I took over winemaking at the company in 1959, and through the research I've made in this winery, after especially I studied enology in Bordeaux, I started working on the wines of Lebanon, trying to understand what was the potential behind the grapes, behind the quality of the fruit. I don't mind that I have, even if I have to drive 50 miles a day to come to the winery, it's my hobby. I like to be there in the winery, taste my wine, especially during fermentation, vinification, and all the process. And it's a fascination because each day I taste the wine is different. Each day I taste the wine has evolved, and I realize that each year is different, so I have to be able to understand how the year is going on the making, to understand how wine will develop in the future.
There was no restaurant, not even a coffee shop here. So when my father started this beautiful place, people started coming to visit Pepe. And we started serving wine, of course, and have a local wine especially. And Chateau Musar, because Mr. Hausher was a very good friend of my father. So, and it's very good wine too. And that was about 48 years ago.
Actually, we're in Byblos, one of the oldest cities built by stones in the world, where we can easily talk about wine exported to the Greek. We still have traces, actually, all the way between Byblos and Baalbek, about an old Roman roads leading to that area or linking Byblos to Baalbek. They've been using that, bringing wine produced up there, exporting that to places like Greece, like other big civilizations, Egypt, Mesopotamia.
Tous les vignobles du Château Musar sont organiques. Ici, on est dans la plaine de la Beka, dans les vignobles de Musar. C'est le cépage Cinsault que je suis en train de cueillir. C'est un Cinsault qui va arriver à peu près à 13,5 degrés d'alcool, qui va être l'élément essentiel avec le Cabernet Sauvignon et le Carignan qui forment le Château Musar. Le senso avec la plantation organique qu'on fait révèle le maximum le terroir. Il exprime son terroir avec beaucoup de fluidité et avec beaucoup de fraîcheur. هونيك الكرزات vous savez الكرزات يحني وراك تكون قاعد تدلك. C'est un travail de labour, c'est un travail de désherbage, c'est un travail humain, un grand travail humain. Il y a le raisin, le soleil, le vignoble et ne rien faire que cueillir.
Chateau Musar, for me, has been a return to my roots. Clearly, I'm born into a family of wine. I've worked in finance, and that was in a lot of cases where a lot of people told me, why do you spend your time in finance? It's probably much more fun to just be in the wine business.
It's a life, and it's my life. I love it. This month I am having a tasting in Bristol in England, in Hamburg in Germany, in Warsaw in Poland, and then I'm going to the States where I have a tasting in Raleigh, in Washington, New York, many tastings.
On a reçu hier soir une commande des États-Unis pour un restaurant de New York. Ce restaurant a commandé des vieux millésimes de Musar.
Then I fly to Italy for there is the symposium, World Symposium of Wine in the Como Lake.
Le 59,
Combien de bouteilles?
2 bouteilles de chaque.
Okay.
Le 64 et le 74.
Okay.
Et en blanc, il a commandé le 54.
2 bouteilles aussi?
2 bouteilles aussi. 2 bouteilles de 67.
Okay.
Et 2 bouteilles de blanc 72.
Bien sûr, pour le rouge 74?
Pour tous les millésimes, sa commande, c'est une petite quantité, donc on a décidé qu'on allait la lui accorder.
Today, our motto is more than ever, quality. And Lebanon can produce quality, whether in wine, gastronomy, fashion.
Well, we compared the 1959. I said West Side Story. You said, what was the other one?
Vivaldi.
Vivaldi. You said Vivaldi. And you said, I forgot.
Prokofiev. To start with, the 69, not the 59.
Well, I was saying the 59 to me is West Side Story with all the excitement and the pounding and yet it's an old story because it's actually Romeo and Juliet in modern, and so this is sort of like that.
But it finishes like Smetana in La Moldau.
Very true.
When it comes down, it's a river. The turmoil and the river comes down. It's Smetana. The way I describe
Very
it.
true.
Marvellous it is for its age, you know, it hasn't faded, it's got full of body and structure.
I just thought that this wine was really pure perfection.
This is the miracle of wine. And the miracle of wine gives us just a leeway, which is 1 in 1,000 intervention I can have on wine. And it's this role I tend to play since I've been making wines for 50 years.
There are three elements of the wine: God, the soil, and Monsieur Hochard. And his proportion that he awards to God is 99%, then nearly 1% to the soil. So at the end of the day, as you see, it's really got remarkably little to do with him.
I have been more than impressed, not because of the matching, but because of the way you give to your food an identity which is very interesting.
Thank
I
you.
was very impressed.
Thank you very
I
much.
congratulate you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. Thank you.
Lebanon has the ability, due to its conditions, to produce great wines.
Lebanon is a country with mountains, valleys, lakes, water, where you can go skiing in the winter on slopes from 2,000 to 3,000 meters height, and you can go swimming in the summer. It's a country which has a moderate climate, which makes it very pleasant to live all year round.
You take a wine, you add to it just 1% of any other variety, and you change completely the taste of the wine, completely. Merwah is a honey wine. Merwah, which is a semillon, is supposed to produce what they produce, the sweet wines. You can smell the sunshine into this wine. Yeah? And Merwah is behind the semillon, but it might be somewhere behind also the Riesling. You like it, I see. I can see. I can see. You don't have to say it. I see your eyes, I see your vein, I see the places which are enjoying the wine, their vein. Yeah, so. It has a nice smell.
What honey?
It's very mineral, salty. I hate to follow the rules, but sometimes you have to abide. This is the most important thing, the fingerprint of a wine. No additive, no pesticide, nothing. You smell the earth. This is when you smell the truth. Okay, this is good. This is the smell of life. It was so good that I did swallow it. It was my mistake.
Business was extremely good. This helped him a lot in his challenge to improve the quality of these wines. This gentleman happened to be my father, and he was driven by one motto: quality, purely quality. In 1946, the French army left Lebanon, and my father was confronted with a new situation. He had to find new customers. But backed by the resilience of my mother and her wisdom, he managed to go on. And luckily, the end of the World War also was the beginning of the golden age of Lebanon. At that time, Lebanon used to be referred as the Switzerland of the Middle East, and became the prominent country in the region, attracting foreigners, and Chateau Musar was extremely successful until 1975.
Clearly, what's important is not necessarily growth for the sake of growth. What's important is making sure that we keep what we already have, which is the wine, the taste, the philosophy we have behind making the wines. That is clearly the most important thing.
Welcome to Chateau Musar. It's a pleasure to have you here. And I hope it will be fun, because I love to have fun, and this is the only thing which counts in life.
La récolte de cette année était excellente. On a vu des acidités fortes, des pH très bas. Elle a donné un produit unique, excellent, et qui va donner un goût et des arômes extraordinaires dans le vin. La fermentation est en train de dérouler pour les autres cépages. Ce cépage, aujourd'hui, va commencer à fermenter dans les caves de Chateau Musar.
We produce 3 main ranges of wine. The top range, the Chateau Musar, is released 7 years after the harvest and exists in red, white and rosé wines. The second range, the Rochard Père-et-Fils, exists only in red and is released 4 to 5 years after the harvest. The third range, the entry-level wines, which is called Musar Jeune, is released after 1 year and exists also in red, white and rosé wine. This range is called Musar Cuvée in Lebanon and the Middle East.
Another challenge at Musar, which is linked, or at least where my background can help, has been the fact that, for example, our wines are sold after 7 years, which means a lot of financing issues to make sure that our wines are, and our business is properly financed as we grow it.
So once you're in Byblos, visiting its ancient part or the archaeological site, as we're doing now, look at the sea and you can easily understand that those Phoenicians, those big traders, sailors, travelers have left harbors somewhere down there, taking a lot of stuff abroad, and one of those for sure was the wine.
In 1975, with the birth of the civil war in Lebanon, a new story started. Once again, it was against all odds how to survive. Lebanon suddenly lost its place as the window shop of the Middle East, and the majority of our customers left Lebanon. The cosmopolitan aspect of the country was being seriously questioned, with restaurants and hotels closing their doors, and the foreigners, the main Musar lovers, leaving the country. The only option for the company was to look for a new market elsewhere. We went to Europe, probably continuing our Phoenician role in some way. In 1979, we decided to attend the Bristol Wine Fair. In that fair, Chateau Musar was described by the press as the find of the fair. Michael Broadbent, the head of the wine department at Christie's, wrote those words